Let me tell you something straight. Silence does not always mean absence of feelings. Sometimes silence means a man is fighting a battle inside himself. If he truly craves you, if he feels your presence in his heart, but he's still quiet, there's a deeper reason behind that silence. A man's mind works differently. When he wants something badly, especially love, he doesn't always rush forward. Sometimes he steps back, thinking, analyzing, doubting, and planning. Silence becomes his way of protecting himself from rejection, failure, and an emotional exposure. Many women think, if he wants me, he should show it. And that sounds logical. But the truth is, some men go silent because they care too much. They are afraid of messing it up. They fear saying the wrong thing, making the wrong move, or losing their chance forever. Sometimes his silence means he's trying to get his life together. A man wants to feel stable before stepping into something meaningful. If he feels financially, emotionally, or mentally unprepared, he may pull back, not because he doesn't want you, but because he wants to be worthy of you. Other times, silence is his way of testing your energy. He wants to see if you will chase, beg, or lose control. A confident woman who stays calm, focused, and self-respecting becomes even more attractive. Your strength makes him think harder about his next move. But here's the shocking truth. Craving alone is not enough. Desire without courage leads to silence. Wanting you but lacking emotional maturity creates distance. And that is why actions matter more than words, and consistency matters more than desire. Never let someone's silence make you question your worth. If he truly wants you, he will eventually find the courage. And if he doesn't, you must remember this: the right man will never make you confused about where you stand. Silence does not always mean loss of interest, and understanding this can completely change the way you look at relationships. Many people assume that when someone goes quiet, it automatically means they no longer care, but that belief often comes from fear, insecurity, or past experiences rather than truth. Human emotions are complex, and not everyone expresses desire, affection, or longing in the same way. Some people communicate through words and constant contact, while others process their emotions internally. For these individuals, silence becomes a space where they think, reflect, and try to understand what they truly feel. This silence can actually mean that the emotions are strong, not weak. When a man is deeply interested, he may feel pressure to act perfectly. That pressure can cause hesitation. He might replay conversations in his head, analyze every interaction, and worry about saying or doing the wrong thing. Instead of reaching out impulsively, he chooses to step back, believing that waiting will help him approach the situation more carefully. In his mind, silence becomes a strategy, not a sign of indifference. He may be planning, building confidence, or searching for the right moment. While this silence can feel confusing or even painful, it often reflects the seriousness of his emotions. Another reason silence does not mean loss of interest is emotional self-protection. When someone truly cares, the risk of rejection feels heavier. Rejection hurts more when feelings are deep. To avoid that pain, some people retreat temporarily. They create emotional distance to protect themselves from vulnerability. Silence becomes a shield. It allows them to stay connected internally without exposing themselves externally. This does not mean they have stopped caring. It means they care so much that they are afraid of losing control over their emotions. Silence can also be a result of internal struggles. A person may be dealing with stress, financial pressure, family problems, or personal doubts. During such times, they may not have the emotional energy to communicate openly. They might fear that their problems will become a burden, so they choose quiet instead. Their feelings remain, but their ability to express them becomes limited. This kind of silence is not about you. It is about what they are fighting within themselves. Sometimes silence is a form of observation. A man who is truly interested may step back to understand your character, emotional strength, and reaction patterns. He may want to see how you behave when communication slows down. Do you remain calm, confident, and focused on your life? Or do you panic, chase, and lose your balance? This observation helps him evaluate emotional compatibility. In this case, silence becomes a test, not a sign of fading interest. It is also important to recognize that communication styles differ. Some people naturally require more space than others. They recharge through solitude, reflection, and inner dialogue. For them, silence feels normal, not alarming. They may assume that emotional connection does not require constant communication. While this can clash with someone who values frequent contact, it does not indicate a lack of desire or attachment. Understanding that silence does not always mean loss of interest helps prevent overthinking, insecurity, and emotional exhaustion. Instead of jumping to negative conclusions, it allows space for patience and emotional maturity. It reminds you that your worth is not measured by how often someone texts or calls. Your value exists independently of someone else's communication patterns. When you stop interpreting silence as rejection, you regain emotional control and inner peace. This mindset also encourages healthier relationship dynamics. Instead of reacting with fear, accusations, or desperation, you respond with calm confidence. This emotional stability makes you more attractive and respected. It shows that you trust yourself and your value. Ironically, this calm energy often draws the other person closer, creating stronger emotional connection and clearer communication in the long run. Fear of rejection can stop him from reaching out, even when his desire is strong and his feelings are genuine. Many people assume that confidence comes naturally to everyone, especially to men, but the reality is very different. Inside, many men struggle with self-doubt, insecurity, and the pressure to appear strong. When emotions become real, the risk of being rejected feels heavier, and that fear can silence even the boldest personality. Reaching out means exposing vulnerability, and vulnerability opens the door to possible emotional pain, embarrassment, or disappointment. To avoid that, he may choose silence instead of action. Rejection touches a man's pride deeply. Society often teaches men to be fearless, confident, and in control, but rejection challenges that image. It makes him question his value, his attractiveness, and his worth. When he truly likes someone, the emotional stakes become higher, and the possibility of rejection feels unbearable. Instead of risking his ego and emotional stability, he may pull back, telling himself it is safer to stay quiet than to face potential failure. In this way, silence becomes a defense mechanism. Fear of rejection also grows when past experiences have left emotional scars. If he has been ignored, dismissed, or emotionally hurt before, his mind remembers that pain. Those memories resurface when he feels attracted again. He may overthink every possible outcome, imagining worst-case scenarios. His thoughts might spiral into questions like, what if she doesn't feel the same? Or, what if I embarrass myself? Or, what if I ruin everything by speaking too soon? These thoughts can paralyze him, making silence feel like the safest option. Another layer of this fear comes from emotional attachment. The deeper his feelings, the greater the fear. When he cares deeply, rejection would not just be disappointing. It would be heartbreaking. This emotional risk makes him cautious. He may convince himself to wait to observe or to gather signs before making a move. In his mind, staying silent allows him to protect his heart while he searches for reassurance that his feelings might be returned. Fear of rejection can also be tied to uncertainty about timing. He may feel that the moment is not right. Perhaps he senses that you are busy, emotionally unavailable, healing, or focused on other priorities. He does not want to disturb your peace or appear needy. So he holds back, waiting for a sign, a better opportunity, or a clearer signal. Silence, in this case, becomes patience mixed with fear. Social conditioning plays a role as well. Men are often taught to hide emotions, suppress vulnerability, and avoid emotional exposure. Expressing feelings can feel uncomfortable, unfamiliar, and risky. Even when he wants to open up, he may struggle to find the words or the courage. Silence then becomes his comfort zone, even though it conflicts with his desires. Fear of rejection does not mean lack of interest. In fact, it often indicates the opposite. If he did not care, rejection would not matter. The reason he hesitates is because your opinion of him holds value. He does not want to lose your respect, your attention, or your potential presence in his life. This emotional weight can hold him back more strongly than indifference ever could. Understanding this allows you to view silence through a lens of empathy rather than insecurity. Instead of assuming you are unwanted, you can recognize that he may simply be scared of losing the connection he hopes to build. This awareness helps you stay grounded, confident, and emotionally balanced without rushing to conclusions or diminishing your self-worth. He may be working on his personal stability, and this is often one of the most overlooked reasons a man might stay silent, even when he craves someone. Many people assume that if someone wants to be with you, they will immediately show it, but life is rarely that simple. A man who truly values you may recognize that entering a relationship without being ready could lead to heartbreak, complications, or failure. Stability, in this sense, is not just about money or career success. It encompasses emotional maturity, mental clarity, and life direction. When a man is aware of his shortcomings or the challenges he faces, he may choose silence as he works to create a stronger foundation before fully committing. Personal stability begins with emotional readiness. A man might desire a relationship deeply, but if he has unresolved emotional issues, past trauma, or insecurities, he may hesitate to express his feelings openly. He understands that love requires patience, understanding, and consistency, and if he cannot provide that, he may prefer to remain quiet rather than risk disappointing you. Silence becomes a temporary placeholder while he works on emotional growth, learning to communicate better, manage his impulses, and respond thoughtfully in a way that will benefit the relationship long term. Financial or career stability is another crucial factor. Many men feel responsible for providing security and comfort to those they care about. If he perceives that he is not yet in a position to meet those expectations, he may refrain from pursuing a deeper connection until he feels capable. This is not about superficiality. It is about integrity. He wants to ensure that when he does step forward, he can contribute meaningfully to the relationship rather than leaving it vulnerable to stress or imbalance. Silence, in this case, is a conscious choice to prioritize preparation over impulsive action. Life circumstances can also contribute to his silence. He might be managing family responsibilities, health challenges, or personal goals that demand focus and energy. Reaching out prematurely could interfere with these priorities, causing frustration or misalignment between his intentions and actions. A man who values you will not want to start something he cannot fully invest in. Thus, silence becomes a way of respecting both his situation and the potential relationship, allowing him to show up more fully when the time is right. Patience plays a role in this process as well. A man working on his stability often takes time to plan, strategize, and reflect on what he truly wants. He is not silent because he does not care, but because he wants to ensure that when he does express his feelings, it will be consistent, deliberate, and aligned with the life he wants to build with you. Impulsive declarations of affection without preparation could lead to confusion, miscommunication, or disappointment. His silence is a sign that he is prioritizing quality over quantity, depth over haste. Understanding that stability encompasses mental, emotional, and practical aspects can shift the perspective on silence. It is easy to misinterpret a lack of communication as indifference, but often it is the opposite. A man who is building stability internally is preparing to be a better partner externally. He wants to ensure that when he finally engages fully, he can offer security, reliability, and genuine presence. This approach demonstrates foresight, responsibility, and care, qualities that are far more valuable than immediate verbal affirmation or constant contact. Recognizing this mindset allows you to remain patient and empathetic rather than frustrated or anxious. Instead of demanding explanations or feeling neglected, you can appreciate the effort he is putting into becoming the kind of partner who can truly sustain a meaningful relationship. Silence, in this context, is not absence, it is preparation. It is a quiet but powerful indication that he values you enough to wait until he can offer his best self, showing that true desire often manifests not in hurried words, but in thoughtful actions grounded in stability and readiness. Silence can be a way to test your emotional strength, and this is a reality that many people fail to recognize in relationships. When a man is genuinely interested but chooses to remain quiet, it is not always because he lacks feelings or desire. Sometimes it is because he wants to observe, measure, and understand how you handle uncertainty, patience, and self-control. Emotional strength is attractive because it demonstrates maturity, confidence, and the ability to maintain balance even in challenging circumstances. By remaining silent, he creates a space that allows him to see if you can handle the emotional pressure without losing your composure or chasing after him recklessly. This is not manipulation in a negative sense. It is a way for him to assess compatibility and the potential for a healthy, balanced relationship. A man who tests emotional strength wants to see whether you are grounded in your self-worth. He notices how you respond when communication slows down or when clarity is missing. Do you panic, overanalyze, or chase him? Or do you maintain your dignity and continue living your life fully? Your ability to stay calm and confident under uncertainty reflects emotional resilience, which is a trait he values highly. Men are often attracted not just to beauty or charm, but to stability, independence, and self-assuredness. Silence becomes a mirror that reflects these qualities, allowing him to observe them in real time. Patience is another aspect he may be evaluating through silence. A man who truly wants a meaningful connection knows that rushing or forcing a relationship often leads to complications. By stepping back, he gauges whether you can wait without anxiety or frustration. Patience in a partner indicates understanding, maturity, and respect for the relationship building process. It shows that you value substance over instant gratification, which increases your desirability in his eyes. When you demonstrate patience, you confirm that you are capable of nurturing a stable and lasting relationship, making him more likely to invest when he feels ready. Consistency under uncertainty is also tested. Emotional strength is not just about staying calm for a moment. It is about maintaining composure over time. Silence tests whether your confidence is genuine or conditional. If you react impulsively or with insecurity every time he withdraws, it signals that your stability may be dependent on constant affirmation. On the other hand, if you continue to show self-respect, pursue your goals, and remain emotionally balanced, it communicates that you are reliable and resilient. This consistency is often what men look for when deciding if they want to deepen a connection. Another important aspect of this test is self-reliance. A man who is observing emotional strength wants to see if you have your own life, your own ambitions, and your own happiness independent of him. Silence forces you to confront your own emotional state without relying on his input for validation. This process reveals whether you can maintain a fulfilling life, even in moments of uncertainty. Men are drawn to partners who are complete on their own, rather than those who depend entirely on external attention or reassurance. By remaining self-sufficient, you demonstrate emotional maturity and readiness for a healthy partnership. It is also worth noting that testing emotional strength is a reflection of his intentions. If he were indifferent, he would not care to observe or evaluate your reactions. His silence is purposeful, indicating that he is considering the long-term potential of the relationship. He wants to ensure that both partners can handle challenges, communicate effectively, and maintain respect for each other's boundaries. This thoughtful approach is part of building a meaningful connection, and it reflects genuine care rather than neglect or disinterest. Understanding that silence can be a test of emotional strength allows you to approach the situation with awareness and confidence. Instead of overreacting or assuming the worst, you can view his quietness as an opportunity to demonstrate composure, self-worth, and maturity. By maintaining your balance, pursuing your life goals, and showing patience, you respond in a way that reflects your emotional intelligence. In doing so, you not only honor yourself, but also give the relationship a chance to develop naturally with clarity, respect, and genuine attraction. Desire without courage creates distance, and this is a truth that often goes unnoticed in relationships. Many people assume that if someone wants you, their feelings will automatically translate into action. But emotions alone are not enough to sustain meaningful connections. A man can crave, admire, and think about you constantly, yet fail to reach out or communicate because acting on desire requires courage. Courage is not just about bold gestures or declarations of love. It is about confronting vulnerability, risk, and the possibility of rejection. Without it, even the strongest attraction can remain trapped behind silence, creating emotional distance that confuses and frustrates the person who is waiting for a response. The gap between desire and courage often stems from fear. A man may want you deeply, but fear of failure, embarrassment, or making a mistake can hold him back. He may worry about saying the wrong thing, misinterpreting signals, or rushing the relationship too soon. Every decision to remain silent is a choice to protect himself from potential pain, even if it leaves you in uncertainty. In this sense, desire without courage is like a fire burning behind a wall. It is present, intense, and real, but hidden from view, creating frustration for both parties involved. Emotional immaturity can also contribute to this distance. Desire is a feeling, but courage requires maturity, self-confidence, and emotional stability. A man may feel drawn to you but lack the tools to express that longing in a healthy and constructive way. Acting on desire involves vulnerability, openness, and sometimes confrontation with uncomfortable truths. Without these qualities, his longing remains unspoken and distance grows, not because he does not care, but because he is not yet capable of bridging the gap between feeling and action. Life circumstances often amplify this effect. A man may crave a connection but feel unprepared due to work, financial responsibilities, personal goals, or unresolved issues from the past. Courage in this context requires balancing desire with practical realities. Acting impulsively could complicate his life or create instability in the relationship. Choosing silence, while seemingly frustrating, is his way of navigating these challenges without causing harm. The distance is therefore not a reflection of lack of interest, but a reflection of careful consideration and internal conflict. Psychologically, desire without courage can also lead to overthinking. The more a man wants you, the more he analyzes every potential outcome. He may imagine rejection, embarrassment, or failure, and these scenarios can create mental barriers that prevent him from reaching out. Silence becomes a coping mechanism, a way to avoid the anxiety that comes with confronting his emotions head-on. This is particularly true for men who feel intense responsibility toward the people they care about. They do not want to hurt, disappoint, or misstep, so they stay quiet while the desire continues to exist internally. The emotional impact of this phenomenon can be significant. The person on the receiving end of silence may interpret it as indifference, lack of interest, or avoidance, leading to confusion, doubt, and insecurity. Meanwhile, the person experiencing desire without courage may feel frustrated, conflicted, and trapped between wanting connection and fearing action. This unspoken tension creates distance that could be bridged if courage were present. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial for understanding behavior, managing expectations, and responding with clarity rather than reactionary emotion. Desire without courage also highlights the importance of timing and readiness. Acting on feelings prematurely without emotional or practical preparation can damage a budding connection. Silence, in this case, is a sign that he is wrestling with the balance between wanting you and doing what is right. It is an indication that action requires more than desire. It requires emotional bravery, commitment, and willingness to confront risk. Understanding this helps you see that distance is not necessarily a reflection of diminished interest, but of the inner work he must navigate before fully expressing his intentions. Ultimately, recognizing that desire without courage creates distance allows you to approach relationships with patience, empathy, and insight. It reminds you that true connection is built not just on attraction, but on the courage to act consistently, openly, and honestly. When you understand this, you can interpret silence not as rejection, but as a sign that the person is navigating their internal fears, desires, and responsibilities. It also empowers you to maintain your self-respect, emotional balance, and clarity, creating a space where meaningful connection can eventually flourish once courage meets desire.